Welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Today we're doing a draft special. We'll be talking about other sports as well as football, some big sports. So let's get into things. The Patriots select Stidham with the 170-something pick or whatever, 193rd pick. Congratulations to Chris on calling this pick out. I think he called it before the season started, so congratulations to him. What do you have to say about this, Chris?
Let's go! Let's go! I called this Jarrett Stidham. He was the best quarterback in the draft, no doubt about that. We'll be looking back on this 15 years from now, and we'll know Jarrett Stidham is one of the all-time greats. He'll be right up there. Him and Mason Rudolph will be the two best quarterbacks in the league. 15 years from now, I mean, what a pick by the Patriots. Just a great guy to have as their successor to Tom Brady. Jarrett Stidham, he has all the tools. What a pick. What a pick. And even though Stidham's not going to start probably for a couple of years, the Jarrett Stidham effect will still be in place for the Patriots, so...
Okay, so the Patriots will just go 7-5 every year?
No, the Jarrett Stidham effect helps teams. As you saw, Auburn in the Final Four was because of the Jarrett Stidham effect.
I don't think so.
Chris, Chris, I have some stats for you. 396 yards, 6 TDs, and that is Dwayne Haskins' stats against Michigan this year. In a 69-21 or 36, whatever the hell you had, 62-39 win. So if you want to say Jarrett Stidham's best quarterback in the league, just remember that Dwayne Haskins threw for almost 400 yards and 6 TDs against you guys. All right. I really don't know what your point is. I have some stats for you here in a second. He's really pull this up.
Listen, he's just not good. He wasn't good in college. That's why he was forced out of Baylor. They didn't want him anymore, so he transferred to Auburn. And he's just not a good quarterback. I don't know why people think he's so good. I mean,
he is a phenomenal quarterback. Hey, Luke, I have some stats for you. Yeah, what's that? 373 yards, 5 touchdowns against Purdue in the Music City Bowl for Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, well, Rocky Lombardi threw for over 300 yards on Purdue's defense too. Let's calm down.
Well, that's as good as Michigan's defense in a big game. So Haskins threw 470 yards against Purdue. What's your point?
On the road.
I'm just saying. He lost. So? He lost the game. That ain't no problem.
Yeah, Michigan lost to Florida too. I don't know what your point is.
Yeah, I don't have anything good to say about Michigan football until they start winning big games. So I don't know why you guys keep bringing that up.
Did you see it? You see Michigan's lingerie football team beat Ohio State?
Well, it wasn't an embarrassing loss for Ohio State.
Yeah, very embarrassing.
Well, I mean, Michigan, the way Michigan plays, you might as well think they're in lingerie when they play us in actual football.
That's a good point. All right, let's move on. The Giants select Daniel Jones with the 6th pick over Dwayne Haskins. What do you guys feel about this pick for the Giants?
Yeah, the league done messed up. Well, this was an embarrassing pick. League done messed up. Okay. It was an embarrassing pick. Obviously Haskins is better than Daniel Jones. I can name a lot of quarterbacks better than Daniel Jones. Will Greer is better than Daniel Jones. Jarrett Stidham. Hold on. Gardner Minshew is better than Daniel Jones. Jarrett Stidham. Hold on. Drew Lock is better than Daniel Jones. And, of course, Jarrett Stidham, he was still on the board. He had fallen 5 spots from the number 1 pick to number 6, and they didn't get him. Embarrassing.
Okay, then. I think he fell 100. He fell 192 spots actually. But
he knew he was gonna.
Yeah, I was very disappointed that there were a couple quarterbacks that I had going in the top 5. I had Dwayne Haskins going number 1 overall in my mock draft. I had Taylor Cornelius going third overall. I thought he was
I like that.
by far the best quarterback in the draft besides Haskins. And they didn't take Taylor Cornelius. I'm not sure why not. I've never seen a better thrower of the football than Taylor Cornelius. He's better than Mason Rudolph. It's not even close. In big games,
I was the guy from NFL Network that said Jared Stidham has the best ball of anybody in the draft, and that this pick could really pay off long term for the Patriots.
Well, that NFL analyst has never seen Clayton Thorson throw a football. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The Giants. Daniel Jones. I picked against Duke a couple times. I don't know what to think about this pick. Picked Clayton Thorson's Northwestern team, and they lost to Daniel Jones's Duke team. Although Daniel Jones didn't even play in that game, so I don't know what to think. Who knows? Could be a good quarterback, could not be. But who gives a crap? No one really cares about the draft anyway, so let's move on to the Ohio State draft summary. Ohio State was tied for the most draft picks with 9. As you can see, those are some of the draft picks. Nick Bosa, 2nd overall. One of the most overrated prospects I've ever seen, Nick Bosa. Overrated. Paris Campbell, 2nd round. Jones, 3rd round. Draymond Jones. The best running back in the draft was picked in the 7th round, Mike Weber. Although L.J. Scott would have been better if he was drafted, but he wasn't. So, Luke, how do you feel about how Ohio State did in this draft?
Yeah, I think they did pretty good. Anytime you tie for the most draft picks in the draft, you can't complain. I don't know why we didn't have the top 9 picks in the draft. Obviously, we had the top 9 players, but the league done messed up. All right, just going through this. Bosa, okay. Dwayne Haskins is going to be okay. Paris Campbell is a steal in the 2nd round, in my opinion. I watched him burn Michigan pretty bad. That entire Ohio State team's a steal because they all burned Michigan. Well, I think he's gonna be pretty good. I don't know how Cincinnati ended up with the greatest basketball player of all time in the 4th round. I mean, honestly, how do you get that type of steal? It's embarrassing that all the other teams did not take him.
Well, he sucked.
Mike Weber, yeah, 7th round pick. Be a solid backup running back in the league, I think.
That's ridiculous. He's taking Zeke's job. Why do you think they drafted him?
Okay.
They think he's better.
Terry McLaurin was the biggest steal in the draft, not only out of Ohio State players, but everybody in the draft. Okay, that's absurd.
Well, no. But, not a bad draft overall for Ohio State. Now let's move on to Michigan. They had 5 players drafted. Devin Bush and Rashawn Gary. But I'm okay with Devin Bush. I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL. I don't think he's anybody to trade out for, but he's not bad. I think Rashawn Gary's got no motor. I think he's a bum. I think he sucks. I think that's a terrible pick. That's an embarrassing pick. Chase Winovich is an embarrassing pick. He's all talk. He doesn't actually do much on the field. I was disgusted that David Long was taken before Justin Lane. Doesn't make much sense to me. He's okay, but then again, he had the best defensive line in the league with David Long getting to the quarterback, even though they sucked in the last part of the season. And David Long got exposed a couple times. He sucks.
What are you talking about?
What?
Am I allowed to talk about Karan Higdon?
Sure. Karan Higdon, who sat out of the bowl game because he thought he was going to get drafted and didn't get drafted at all. How about that?
Program to improve his draft stock doesn't get drafted.
Exactly.
In education. Well, listen, Karan Higdon should have been drafted. You know, he'll get a chance in Houston. That's fine, but he should have been drafted. But whatever. Devin Bush.
Okay, if he didn't get drafted, I mean, if he was going to get drafted 6th or 7th round, how are you going to sell your pro game, or a bowl game if you're only going to get 6th or 7th round?
I'm not going to say I agree with that decision to set up the bowl game, but, he did it, so.
Oh, he's sitting around watching the first round, wondering why he didn't get called.
Great job by the Steelers getting Devin Bush. He's going to be
like, Gruden, you said you were going to draft me, man. Gruden, what the hell? That was Carl Higdon talking to Gruden. Gruden, my guy. You said I was your guy.
All right.
Devin. Man, we went in a different direction, man. I'm sorry, man. We'll get you next round, man. That was Gruden.
All right. Bush is going to be one of the greatest linebackers of all time. I truly believe that. He's a big-time player. He showed up in every game last year. Devin Bush showed up.
Well, it's unfortunate that Joe Bocce's better than he was. Really unfortunate.
I cannot say the same thing about Sean Gary, who showed up in very few games. In his entire Michigan career, did not have a great career at Michigan. Maybe that I don't know how that translates to the NFL, but
he's a bum. Absolute bum.
They didn't show any Michigan highlights against Ohio State when they were showing the highlights.
Chase Winovich, I think that's a great fit with the Patriots. He will learn to not talk every 5 seconds.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Did you see?
The Patriots will be on their revenge tour against Miami this year.
Yeah. Did you see the Patriots released a video of him getting the call? He showed the phone to his agent. It's Massachusetts. But he didn't know what team it was. He's like, look, it's Massachusetts. And then the agent was like, oh, it's the Patriots then. And, oh, it's the Patriots. They didn't put together.
What an idiot.
That's a good fit. He's a great player, but, we'll see what happens there. David Long, absolute steal. I thought he was the best cornerback in the Big Ten last year. So great pick by the Rams. Jack Gentry, pretty good player. Stepped up in a couple of key situations last year. So I think he is a good player in the league.
Too bad Sean McCune was the best tight end on Michigan last year.
Okay. I also like to comment on Wilton Speight getting a big-time opportunity. He's a great quarterback, so we'll do that.
What happened?
He got signed as an undrafted free agent.
Okay.
He's a great player.
Okay.
And also, I don't know if you consider the Steelers a functional franchise, but if you do, then all the Michigan players were drafted by functional franchises, so I think that's positive.
You're saying the Rams is a functional franchise? What are you smoking?
Yes, the Rams are a functional franchise. I don't know if the Steelers are, but...
Yeah, the Rams are not. And the Packers aren't either. So...
Okay.
All right. Now for the main event, Michigan State. It was ridiculous. They only had 2 players drafted. I thought, they should have had at least 5 or 6. It was absurd. Justin Lane fell. He's by far the best cornerback in the draft. I had him going in the top 10 in my mock draft. By far the best cornerback in the draft. Best athlete at corner in the draft. And he fell all the way to Pittsburgh. He's going to be a lockdown corner for many years. And I'm sure he'll beat the living shit out of Devin Bush in practice. And that's the most Steelers thing I've ever heard, so it'll definitely happen. And Kari Willis going to Indianapolis, somewhere that Michigan's never been. So that's a good place for him to go. Good player, leader of the defense, Big Ten, all Big Ten defensive player. A couple weeks, he did a lot for us. He's an absolute steal. Would have had a couple more players drafted if L.J. Scott stayed healthy for most of the year. I'm sure he would have got drafted. Same with Felton Davis. If he didn't get hurt, I'm sure he would have got drafted too. But it just what proves that the NFL is a joke is that Matt Sokol, a pass-catching tight end that couldn't catch, somehow got signed by a team, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. The worst tight end I've ever seen play football got a contract. Even though he'll probably get cut, but still, I don't give a crap about Wilton Spate if Matt Sokol's getting signed. Anyway, the two best defensive players in the draft got drafted in the 3rd and the 4th round. All right. What?
I'd like to say something about this.
What?
I think it's a travesty that this many Michigan State players were drafted. I just think it's ridiculous. Justin Lane probably should have been drafted, but I don't know about anybody else after that.
I think it's a travesty that one single Michigan player was drafted.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah, well, I don't know how any Michigan defensive players got drafted, giving up 62 points. We gave up, 10 maybe defensive points to Ohio State this year?
Yeah, but you have to take into account the Michigan State choke on defense.
The Michigan State choke on defense. Okay.
Yep, it happens almost every game.
Well, it didn't happen in the bowl game.
What game did not happen in?
No, it just didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about.
What game? What game?
It never happened in any game.
Oh, it did. I can name you a bunch of games.
Nope.
Well, 5 right off the top of my head.
I'm not. No, we're not. It's ridiculous. We're not going over this stupid crap.
The bowl game against Oregon and Nebraska, which is the biggest one.
Nebraska. Your offense scores 6 points and you choke somehow.
It was an embarrassing choke. Absolutely embarrassing.
That's like being in a 0-0 game and losing 1-0 and blaming the pitcher for choking.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Give me a break. Okay, let's move on. Other notable Big Ten picks, the 2 Iowa tight ends going in the 1st round. The safety from Maryland, Savage. Miles Sanders, he's a good running back, went in the 2nd round. The guard from Wisconsin went in the 3rd round. Clayton Thorson in the 5th round. McSorley in the 6th round. Not a big fan of drafting tight ends that early. Hawkinson was the backup tight end, and suddenly he's a top 10 pick. I don't understand that.
I actually like Noah Fant too, and then Colin Coward came out and said he was going to be a Hall of Famer, so I'm off to his bandwagon. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, Noah Fant can't block, so he's basically a wide receiver.
Compared him to Gronk.
Okay.
He said he's going to be a mixture of Gronk and Jimmy Graham.
He's more like Jimmy Graham than Gronk.
Hawkinson was the backup. Noah Fant's a better player. Only Detroit makes that pick, and they pick a tight end at 8 who was the backup on his team. Yeah. Only the Lions make that pick.
Not only do they do it, that was the 2nd time doing it. They did it with Eric Ebron like 4 years ago, and look at how that worked out.
And Brandon Pettigrew 10 years ago. They've drafted a tight end in the 1st round 3 times in the past 10 years.
Well, it's embarrassing. You look here. I think Miles Sanders is going to be a pretty good player in the league. Thorson, solid backup in the league.
Well, Thorson was the 3rd best quarterback. I have him going 10th overall. One of the best quarterbacks. Throws a beautiful ball. He did have more interceptions than touchdowns, but we don't talk about that. Just a great overall, just great player.
McSorley was the best quarterback in his conference last year, so... Yeah, really.
That is ridiculous.
McSorley's going to be a good NFL quarterback. Now that the NFL is moving towards a lot of RPO offenses.
Okay, that's enough of the RPO talk.
Yeah, how is Trace McSorley going to succeed if they're running RPOs?
No, that was not an RPO.
He obviously doesn't know how to run an RPO.
Not an RPO. It's a great pick by Baltimore. McSorley's going to be a great quarterback.
Right. actually Baltimore with all the RPOs Baltimore runs now with Lamar Jackson and RG3.
Yeah, they were running a lot of RPOs with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, they did run a lot of RPOs, Joe Flacco. That's a good point.
All right, let's move on. All right, way too early Big Ten power rankings.
Whoa.
We don't use
My God, this is terrible.
we don't use biased sources. So this is from Inside NU or Northwestern. Always a good source. Here's the Big Ten power rankings. Ohio State number 1, Michigan number 2, Penn State 3, Wisconsin 4, Northwestern 5, Iowa 6, Nebraska 7, Minnesota 8, Michigan State 9, Purdue 10, Indiana 11, Maryland 12, Illinois 13, and Rutgers at 14. What do you feel about these power rankings?
Ohio State clearly number 1. And I think we got Michigan and Michigan State 2 or 3 in whatever order. Wisconsin at 4. And Iowa probably will be at 5. They're always around there somewhere. Kirk Ferentz, one of the greatest coaches of all time. And after that, I don't think it matters.
This is pretty bad. I agree with Ohio State and Michigan at the top. And I'd have Iowa at 3. And then I'd have Penn State. And then I'd have Michigan State. And, you know, as Luke said after that, it doesn't really matter, although Indiana's going to have a great year because of Tom Allen.
Penn State's not going to be good because they don't have anybody to run any more RPOs.
They also don't have a quarterback right now. Tommy Stevens is in the transfer portal, so.
No, they got that Clifford. They got that Clifford, the Red Dog guy. What's his name? Whatever. He's good. No,
Illinois. Illinois could be in the top 10. That's ridiculous. The Lovie Smith effect will come into full effect, and they'll make a bowl this year. And Purdue's going 1-11, so you know, I'm not a big fan of it. So is Minnesota. They're also going 1-11. Roll the boat.
You know, these power rankings aren't actually that bad. The only thing I really disagree with is, of course, Michigan State at 9. Move them ahead of Michigan and just bump everybody down a spot, and I agree with these power rankings. I think Wisconsin will be in the top 5. I think they'll be pretty good. Northwestern will be good. Maybe move Iowa like to 13. They're not going to be good this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, not bad.
And 3-9. Minnesota will go 3-9.
Minnesota should be probably 3rd. Go Ohio State, Michigan State, Minnesota, maybe Penn State, Northwestern, then Michigan, I would say. Although Purdue might be ahead of Michigan because Purdue actually beat Ohio State and Michigan didn't. So we have to put Purdue ahead of Michigan.
I'm going to have to put Purdue again ahead of Michigan State, too. So.
No, well, Michigan State beat Purdue straight up, so that means they're better than Purdue. But Michigan isn't better than Purdue because they didn't beat them straight up. So, anyways, let's move on to the way too early basketball rankings. The great source of bustingbrackets.com released its poll. Michigan State 1, Ohio State at 2, Maryland at 3, Michigan at 4, Iowa 5, Wisconsin 6, Illinois 7, Purdue 8, Indiana 9, Minnesota 10, Rutgers, Nebraska, Penn State, and Northwestern. What do you feel about these power rankings for the basketball season?
Yeah. Just like Michigan's too high. They literally don't have a team anymore. Everyone declared for the draft, and they don't have a team. So, it's really an embarrassment for Michigan that they can't even field the basketball program for next year. And they probably should be at number 15.
Completely and utterly agree. I don't know how Michigan's in the top 5. They're not a good basketball team. They lose everybody. Their coach, the game has passed John Beilein by, obviously. He doesn't know how to coach anymore. Not sure how Michigan's in the top 5. I put them 7, 8, 9 range. They're a fringe tournament team. The top, I think Ohio State should probably be 4. Maryland should probably be 2. I think Wisconsin's going to be better this year than they were last year. Maybe they're up there somewhere. Iowa, I think, is going to disappoint like they always do, even though they return pretty much everybody. I think Rutgers should be in the top 10. I don't know why they're sitting at 11. Well, Chris, where do you think Michigan's going to be this year? You think they're going to be like 8 or 9, or where do you think they're going to be?
Well, I have a couple comments on this poll as a whole. First of all, Illinois needs to be much higher. They're a very good team. I think Purdue's a little bit low. Iowa's going to be very good. They return a lot of guys. Ohio State's the most overrated team in the country. This is a team that barely made the tournament this year, and they lose their best player, Joey Lane, so I don't really know how they're at 2. That's okay. We lost Dawkins the year before, the greatest player of all time, and we still make the tournament. And then let's comment on Michigan. I'm kind of sick of the slandering of Michigan from a lot of people. I'm just going to, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of looking at past history and applying it to today and predicting based on that. So, in 2017, Michigan made the Sweet 16. They lost 3 of their 4 best players, Derek Walton, DJ Wilson, and Zach Irvin. The next year, they were unranked most of the year. Went to the national championship game. Lost. Oh, they lost the 3 best players before. They lost 3 of their 4 best players in Wagner, Brockman, and Robinson. And then this year make the Sweet 16. And they're going to lose 3 of their 4 best players again, Poole, Matthews, and Brad Sinkis, it looks like. So, I really don't understand why people are ranking Michigan so low, because this has happened in the past, and every year Beeline has 2 guys, and people step up and they find a way to go deep in the tournament every year.
Yeah, you're right. Eli Brooks, probably in the running for Big Ten Player of the Year, is going to be in the starting lineup. That guy they're getting, I don't know what his name is.
Simpson is back. Kempke is back.
Yep.
Rivers is back.
Yep, Ben Simmons is back.
Wilson is going to be a big-time player.
No. David DeJulius sucks. Brandon Johns. Who's your starting lineup going to be? Simpson, Brandon Johns,
I would have guessed.
Austin Brown, or whatever the heck that guy's name was.
Simpson, Brooks.
Eli Brooks.
John.
Eli Brooks will be in the running for Big Ten Player of the Year. Mark my words.
No. It's going to be Simpson, Jalen Wilson, Brandon Johns, Isaiah Livers, and John Teskey, which is, that's easily a top 10 lineup, as we saw a couple years ago when Michigan lost.
Okay.
Their best player.
Okay, I can't even joke about this.
I need to say this. Going into the Big Ten tournament a few years ago, Michigan was a fringe tournament team. This is a team that made it run with the Sweet 16, plus their 3 best players, and the next year went to the championship game. You're telling me Beeline can't turn over a team that went to the Sweet 16?
But you had NBA talent on your team. That's why you could recover. There's no NBA talent on this roster. None.
Yes, there is.
Who? Eli Brooks? Where's Eli Brooks going?
No. Livers and Simpson.
Okay, I'll give you Livers. Simpson can't shoot. How is he going to be in the NBA?
He will develop a jump shot. I trust him.
Oh, no, he'll be working fucking 10 hours a freaking day on that stupid hook shot that only works when he's facing 5'9" defenders. No. When John Teskey's your second scoring option, you're screwed.
There's no such thing as developing a jump shot. No one has ever developed a jump shot, ever.
That's actually not true.
Name one.
Brooks Lopez.
He's a stubborn.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we all know. Yeah, well, apparently John Teskey was supposed to develop a jump shot, and it's terrible.
Smart. Okay, Marcus Smart is not a jump shot.
Yes, he does. He's like top 10 in Celtics history in 3-pointers made.
Yeah. Okay. That's because he's the only one who's taken over 1,000.
Doesn't matter.
Listen, when John Teskey's your second scoring option, how on earth are you trying to tell me this team's good?
I'm telling you that Jalen Wilson is going to be our number 2 scoring option next year if you don't include Simpson.
Jalen Wilson's not very good. Well, he's not good.
Oh, in that case, Rocket Watson's not very good either because they're both 4-star recruits. So,
Yeah, well, Rocket Watts went to Michigan State over Michigan, so well, in your words, all the good recruits go to us, right?
Yeah, they do.
So that means the recruit you got must suck because he went to Michigan.
No, Beeline will develop them. He's going to develop them over the summer.
No, Beeline. The game has passed John Beeline by. He's just not a good coach anymore.
All right, this is the same stuff we said about Tom Izzo last year.
No.
And I'm sticking with my coach.
Yeah, well, Tom Izzo learned. Tom Izzo went over the summer and said, this isn't going to ever happen ever again. And he changed up his offense. He changed up his defense. Gave the ball to Cassius Winston. You don't have a Cassius Winston on your team at all. No one even close. I guess Eli Brooks would be the closest thing to Cassius Winston on your team. But, have fun being in the middle of the pack. Have fun getting destroyed 3 times by Michigan State again.
No.
Have fun.
We already top 3 team in the Big Ten.
Oh, nah. I put you 8 or 9.
Okay. And by the way, you sleep on Eli Brooks. This is the guy who started over Simpson for the first 2 games of the season last season.
Yeah, it just proves how terrible of a coach John Beeline is.
No, it just proves how good Eli Brooks is.
Eli Brooks would be Jack Hoiberg on our team. Jack Hoiberg would start at Michigan next year.
That's not true.
That's absolutely true. All right, let's move on.
If you had a starting lineup between Joey Lane, Doncic, and Jack Hoiberg, it would be Michigan. 3 on 5.
And Foster Lawyer off the bench. Foster Lawyer is going to be good next year. He'll be averaging maybe 3 minutes a game. 3 minutes, he'll probably have a 3 per game. Anyways.
Mike, let's just say this. If Michigan State does not win the national championship next year, it's an embarrassing season.
Well, depending on injuries, yeah.
No.
I agree with you.
Okay.
All right. Big Ten baseball standings.
Let's go.
Michigan sits number 1. Indiana number 2. Down the line. Michigan State wins 2 out of 3 against Northwestern, and they are no longer in last place. Penn State is now in last place in the Big Ten for baseball. Ohio State's been slipping. Ohio State is the last team in the Big Ten tournament right now. They got to start playing better. Anyways, what do you guys feel about this baseball season so far?
Yeah, it's an absolute joke. The fact that Michigan State and Ohio State can play each other out of conference is a joke.
Yeah, Michigan State with a big win over Ohio State out of conference.
That was an absolute joke.
I'll just say that Ohio State's very lucky that Michigan beat Rutgers 2 out of 3. Or else they would be in the Big Ten tournament right now. And
you know what? Michigan's lucky. Michigan's lucky that Ohio State's still in the Big Ten and bringing all this revenue in for the school.
Listen, ever since Ohio State named their field Nick Swisher Field, nothing good's happened.
That's very true. You got Michigan, a big win today, big walk-off homer from Joe Donovan. That's a big win over Rutgers. I expect them to jump into the rankings this week. They'll be the only team in the Big Ten that's ranked. I really like Illinois' team. They've been ranked for some of the year. Michigan State, embarrassing season.
Listen, we just don't get the talent, I feel like a Michigan basketball fan. We just don't get talent.
Okay, fair enough. Can't argue with that.
But I do want to talk about Michigan State's good win over Northwestern. I'd like to thank the umpires, Keith Condor, Michael Conlin, James McCluck, and Perry Costello. The 4 umpires for the game did a very nice job. So thank you for them. big 8-2 win over Northwestern. Out hit them 15-5. That was a big win. Fortunately, we lost in. That was the first game of the doubleheader today. Fortunately, we lost 3-2 in 11 innings in the second game of the doubleheader. Would have been our first sweep of the year. Unfortunately, didn't happen. But, you just got to keep getting better. Last year's Michigan State team made the Big Ten tournament. Even though they were like 20 games below 500, they found a way to do better in the Big Ten season. Find a way to sneak into the Big Ten tournament. They lost 2 straight games, but doesn't matter. 8 teams make the tournament. You got to find a way. It's not over yet. They're still, 5-6 games out of the Big Ten tournament, so they got to start winning a lot, but you never know. And this team, a lot of grit. They have this Asian kid. He's really good. So just great. It's amazing. Amazing how good this team is this year. 3-11. That's a good season for us. All right. Now for the best sport. Big Ten lacrosse standings.
Yeah, I was talking about Big Ten lacrosse. I am absolutely not doing that. No.
Well, Big Ten lacrosse only has 6 teams. There are only 70 Division I lacrosse teams in total.
And only 3 of them are actually in the Big Ten.
Four Big Ten teams make the tournament, and with Michigan's win over Ohio State, Rutgers has made the Big Ten tournament for lacrosse.
I'm not talking about.
Just embarrassing. It's a great sport, lacrosse. Great to see. They only have 5 conference games. Just shows how great of a game lacrosse is. So congratulations to those 4 teams: Penn State, Maryland, Johns Hopkins, and Rutgers for making the Big Ten tournament.
Do not have a lacrosse team?
No, Michigan State does not have a lacrosse team. Those are the 6 teams in the Big Ten right there. And Ohio State and Michigan were the only teams not to make the Big Ten tournament. What do you have to say about that?
Michigan State didn't make the Big Ten tournament either. So.
Yeah, well, we don't have a lacrosse program, so. I'm just hyped, for lacrosse season. The great lacrosse tournament, just amazing. It's great to see that a team could be 7-7 and be ranked in lacrosse. It's great, It's great that they only play 15 games. It's great they play 5 conference games. It just really, the sample size is so small, it's just, that's how great it is, how great the sport is. And that'll be it for the Big 4 podcast. Who knows when we'll be doing another one, but thank you for watching.